Today I just want to tell you about various kind of persecution that Nepalese face in Nepal because of becoming a Christian. I just want to tell you a simple reason why Christians they face problems in Nepal. One of the main reasons they face problem in Nepal is they are thought to be a person who consumes beef meat. Or in example, they are thought to be a person who consumes a cow's meat. Why they are thought to be cow's meat and why they are persecuted for having cow's meat is because cow is a holy animal according to Hinduism and it's a national animal according to Nepal. And in India and Nepal, they have been in campaign for hundreds of years to protect the cows in Nepal and India. Because they think that by catching a tail of a cow, they will be able to go into heaven. So this animal, this cow is very important to Hindu myth. It's a very important to Hindu religious practitioners. But is it true that Nepali Christians, is it true that Nepali Indians, is it true that Indian Christians, do they ever consume meat of a cow? Or just because they become a Christian, do they continue to eat meat of a beef or a cow? Let me tell you one of my example. For me personally, I think that you can eat anything in your life if you want. Nobody can stop you. There are people who even consume meat of a human being. There are many this kind of people, Hindu priests or Hindu sadhus living in Banaras who feeds on meat of a dead person. Now that's a very gruesome activity. Now that's a very gruesome reality. But it's happening right now in India. And I've heard that particular person, even in Nepal, in Jhapa, he eats a dead person's meat that is being burned during the time of funeral. But I just don't want to go to that, but I just want to tell you about the reality of Nepali Christians. Do they really consume cow's meat? First of all, I can tell you that cow's meat is very expensive in Nepal. It's very expensive in India compared to other meat. For example, fish, mutton is quite cheap in Nepal than the cow's meat and the beef meat. First of all, most of the Nepali people, they consume chicken like rest of the world are in the habit of consuming chicken. So I too also just consume chicken most of the times and mutton just occasionally, fish just occasionally, only sometimes, but regularly I consume chicken. It's like at least 5 times a week. And most of the parties, most of the places that I go, they just serve me with mutton because mutton is thought to be a respectable way to serve guests. So just for the sake of expensiveness too, people don't eat cow's meat in Nepal. Another reason is that cow's meat in Nepal is not so common. Why is it not so common? Because it's illegal to kill cows. If you are found killing cows, you are sent to prison for at least more than 5 years. And you have to pay a hefty amount of money, amounting to about lakhs of rupees. So nobody in Nepal actually, is very brave enough to kill cows, to sell its meat to the consumers. And there are less consumers in Nepal. So they don't sell cow's meat and we don't get cow's meat so commonly in Nepal. And it's very rare to have a cow's meat in Nepal. So if you are a foreigner, if you are an Islamist, if you are a Buddhist, and if you want to have a cow's meat in Nepal, be aware that you won't find any cow's meat. And there are exceptional restaurants, there are exceptional hotels where you can get access to cow's meat for consumption. And again, it's very expensive. Right? It's very expensive. So what I have personally done is I've never consumed cow's meat. I told you 2 reasons. First of all, it's very expensive. Number 2, it's very rare that we get the cow's meat. Another reason that I don't eat cow's meat is because it is illegal in Nepal to consume cow's meat. It is illegal in Nepal to kill cows or sacrifice cows. Alright? So I never consume cows. I have never even imagined about having a cow's meat. Because it's illegal and I'm so afraid about the rules and regulations in Nepal, about more than 5 years of imprisonment and about lakhs and lakhs of fine penalty just for killing cows can cause me lifetime in a prison. So I don't want to lose my life. I just don't want to lose my hefty amount of money just for having a cow's meat, just for killing a cow, or just for sacrificing a cow. So Nepali Christians too realize that it is important to save cows because it is illegal according to Constitution of Nepal. Another thing is, Nepal is a Hindu nation because it has about 80% of Hindus. So this 80% of Hindus, they always prohibit killing of cows in Nepal or in India. So you see, we never even imagine the Christians, Buddhists and Islams in Nepal, we never even imagine killing of cows or having a cow's meat unless we are allowed by the law, unless we are allowed by the religion. Now there are some tribes in Nepal, there are some customary tribes in Nepal who are allowed to have cow's meat and bull's meat. Because in villages, I have heard that when the cows are dead, they are given to various kind of tribes, indigenous tribes, and these indigenous tribes, they come and they can take the cows and they can consume it. So if anyone who extra tribe who can consume a dead cow that hasn't been sacrificed, that hasn't been killed by any humans, I don't see any practicality here that a living person actually who cannot kill a cow. So what I'm telling is, if a person, another tribe who is allowed to have a cow's meat when it is dead, my question is, why can't the cow be eaten by another person when it has been killed? That's one of my questions. That's just my questions for the government. That's just my questions for the Nepali constitution makers, for the lawyers and all the people. And this is also questions to Hindu religious practitioners. I mean, you allow the people to have cow's meat when they are dead, but does it make any difference between a person having a cow's meat by killing them and having a cow's meat when the cow is already dead? In both the case, cow is already dead. The only difference is, in one case, cow can live up to more years. In another case, it's up to human beings to decide the life of a cow. So, actually, what's the difference for having a cow's meat? Does it make any difference? And another reason that I don't eat cow's meat is they're unhealthy. I'll tell you why they are unhealthy. In Nepal, what happens is, these Hindus, they think that they love cow very much, but in reality they really don't love cows. If you come to the city of Kathmandu, you will find cows and bulls everywhere in the streets, and there's traffic jams, and there is a danger of being attacked by these cows and bulls on the streets. And these cows and bulls, they are actually feeding on garbages that has been spreaded in the streets of Nepal, in the streets of Kathmandu. And Kathmandu is recognized as one of the most populated and one of the most polluted city in the world. So why should I even consume cow meat of Kathmandu? That is very unhealthy, that is very risky, that is very filled with filth, that is found in the streets, and I really do not want to consume a street cattle. So why should I even try to bring that cattle, and why should I even try to consume that cattle if it's unhealthy for me, it is unbeneficial for me? And another reason that I don't even imagine having a cow's meat is because I have never eaten it, and it's very uncommon for me to even think about having a cow's meat, because I was born into this tradition, I was born into this culture. Though I did not practice the religion, I practice the culture of Nepal. That culture says that we should not consume cow's meat or beef meat. So I've never consumed a cow's meat or beef meat because I respect the culture of Nepal. I respect the legal sanctions of Nepal. So just because I respected legal sanctions and the culture of Nepal, that too has kept me away from having a cow's meat. Isn't that quite simple in my life? Isn't that quite simple in my examples of not having a cow's meat as being a Christian? And this should be actually one of the most prominent lessons, most prominent messages for all of my Hindu friends, for all of my Buddhist friends and Islamist friends, to tell them that I actually don't consume any cow's meat or a beef meat. Actually, especially when I'm in Nepal. And let me tell you about one more thing why I don't eat cow's meat. I don't eat cow's meat because cows are very big animals, and its meat is it takes a lot of time to cook the meat, because it takes a lot of time to cook even the meat of buffalo. So you can imagine how much fuel, how much energy, how much time you have to waste just for cooking a cow's meat. So I don't imagine of cooking a cow's meat to consume myself. I've never done that and I will never do so. So these are the reasons why I didn't eat cow's meat. So let me tell you about the incidents. Do Hindus really love cows? I don't think so. If you look at the cities of Kathmandu, you find cattle everywhere. What is the reason of cattle being on the street? The reason for being cattle on the street, especially the cows, are the owners of the cattle. They just abandon these animals on the street. Why do they just abandon these animals on the streets? Because they are unproductive. Because they no longer give milk, right? Because these animals, these cows have turned into an old cow. It cannot give them milk anymore. So they cannot do any business for selling milk. Especially in Nepal, the Brahmins, they are used to keeping cows into their house and to sell their milk to earn money out of it. But when it is old, they can't earn money, and just looking after it would cost them a lot of money. So instead of keeping them in a shed, instead of continuing to keeping them in a house, they just abandon them on the streets so that they will be free from the financial burden. They just don't want to look after the cow anymore. That is actually unproductive. Another example is that most pathetic thing is that whenever these cows, they give birth to a male calf, they abandon this male calf in the streets. Now that's even more gruesome, that's even more sympathetic. And sometimes I have to take pictures of these animals. In the past I have written many articles about these incidents just to stop these Brahmins, just to stop these people from outer city core areas, just to safeguard the animals and not to discard them on the streets. But they have never stopped it. And today I am so open to you as a Christian, as a Nepali Christian, to tell you all the foreigners, to tell you all the Nepali guys that I as a Nepali Christian have never consumed beef meat, right? And I will not consume beef meat in Nepal. Thank you so much.